It's your girl back with another episode. This episode is called When the Day Feels Like It Wasn't One. And we're just going to talk about how, you have to be a little messy, brave, and just keep moving. Because even though it doesn't feel like a win, it is one. As long as you keep on moving.
Whoa, up the day, I feel blessed, I feel great. I won't fold, I won't beg, stand on 10, go get paid. I gotta win each day, every day. If you ain't on what I'm on, get the fuck up out my way. I gotta win the day, it's today, a great day to be great. No, I can't sit back and wait. I gotta win the day, it's today, a great day to be great. No, I can't sit back and wait.
Let's get into this episode 3. And today we're going to talk about how to hold space for hard days. But first, mental health check. On a scale from 1 to 10, mentally, where are you? How are you? 1 being terrible, 10 being really great. Where do you stand and why? Me personally, I believe I'm about an 8. I typically am an 8 all the time, and then it goes up to a 10 by the time the episode is over. But I'm an 8 because I've had some great news today. I got up, I've poured into myself, I did some reading, I prepped for the show, and I'm doing the podcast. I love doing it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Take some time to maybe you need to pause and think about that for a bit. Maybe you're listening to this at home. Maybe you can jot it down, write it in your journal, or just make a mental note. No pressure. So yeah, so everybody has those days where it feels like everything that can go wrong is going wrong. That's a real thing. And I think those are some of the hardest days because it's like I tried to do my best. I woke up and I drank the smoothie. I went to the gym. I did positive self talk, and none of it seemed to work or get me out of that mood. But something that I want to leave you with when it comes to that is just remember everything happens on purpose and with purpose, and things are happening for you and not to you, right? We're responsible for how we move forward. Sometimes we're not always responsible for the things that are happening around us and happening within us, but we're responsible for how we, get to the meat of the problem and how we move on. When we're carrying around like trauma and anxiety specifically, it's pretty easy to have a messed up day. Like the smallest things will start to just build up. Like, when you're walking around or something and you like stub your toe and you're like, oh my gosh, you're already running late. And then maybe the hook from your pants or your bag gets caught on the edge of the table or the end of the door, and it's like I'm about to lose my mind and I haven't even left out the front door yet. you know, all of that is like, oh my goodness, it's so much. But it's even worse when we're holding on to anxiety and trauma. On a mental health note, when carrying trauma and anxiety, it's hard to feel like any day is a win. Honestly, it's kind of feeling like every day is a rough one instead of a solid win. That's because trauma and anxiety impact our decision making easily, right? And some of the decisions I wrote 5 down is impulsive actions and spending. Anxiety will literally have you being hella impulsive out here. Whether that's an argument with your partner, whether it's buying something random that you want and really don't need right now, and it's out of your budget, like anxiety will really have you doing that. Like, getting up and just wanting to feel something good, a dopamine hit, and you go out and just, do something impulsive. 2, you may overcommit because you're anxious about saying no, or you may say no because you're anxious about saying yes. And speaking of that, is my next one. Anxiety can make you not make decisions and sell yourself short because you've been overwhelmed to immobility. I'll say that again. Anxiety can make you not make decisions and sell yourself short because you've been overwhelmed to immobility. That is a real thing. I've experienced that before. Just overwhelmed, thinking about everything you have to do, everything you need to do. And before you know it, it's like, I can't do any of this because the thought alone is too much. Also, trauma bonding in relationships. Yeah, trauma will have you connecting to someone just specifically off trauma and bonding off of that trauma, and you not even realizing that that's the reason why this is happening, right? And it feels comforting. And before you know it, you're literally in a relationship with the person who triggers you most. That's not fun. It's not fun at all to be in a relationship with a person who is triggering, traumas in you, right? And ironically, that also goes with like you end up dating your parents or whatever. Sometimes the things in your parents that probably kept you going or kept you moving was somebody that was overbearing, somebody that was that didn't really see you, understand you, somebody that discounted your voice or something like that. And before you know it, you'll be in a relationship with someone who does the exact same things. Always tense, can't express yourself because you're always wrong. Like, that's the worst. But trauma and anxiety will have you making that type of decision. Also, this is something that's kind of more practical. Well, another practical example is you may curse someone out and follow them in traffic because you're holding on to trauma. And in that moment, you have put yourself in a life or death situation. Somebody listening right now is probably like, dang, why would you ever do that? And other people are listening like, oh my gosh, I've done that probably a couple of times. Yeah. If you are holding on to that much trauma, that much anxiety, that's some unharbored, you're harboring some feelings and it's misguided anger that you were putting onto somebody else. And people die for less. So it's very important that we are not allowing our anxiety and our trauma to make us make decisions that put us in bad situations. And I hate to be that dramatic, but no, it's that serious. People are doing life sentences, for anxiety and trauma. They made a decision, an impulsive decision in a moment. 9 times out of 10, they have anxiety, they're holding on to trauma, and they just made a life or death situation, you know, that got them caught up either in a pen or in a graveyard. It sucks, but it's the the truth of it all. And when we speak of, trauma and anxiety and holding on to trauma and anxiety, something comes up for me in like the decision making part and also the different relationship that you may have with money, right? Like I said, what was the first example I said? Impulsive actions and impulsive spending. So, speaking of, we're going to move on to our counseling today segment, right? This is the January edition. Money Matters by Deborah Lynn Bloomberg. I'm going to read y'all a little bit from this, right? From overspending and avoiding bills to hiding a secret bank account from a spouse, many people have a complicated and often fraught relationship with money, shaped in part by messages about spending and saving they absorbed as children. It all starts at home, okay? Quite literally, it all starts at home. A 2025 NerdWallet survey found 51% of Americans regularly stress about money. For some, money related anxiety can be especially acute as the new year kicks off, bringing with it not only resolutions and commitments to positive change, but also hefty post holiday bills, annual expenses, and unwelcome reminders of the upcoming tax season. So, financial therapy, that is a real thing. Financial therapy. The relatively new field seeks to uncover and disrupt unhealthy money habits that can trap people in cycles of stress and shame and set them on a path toward greater control and confidence with their finances. So it's not just about, financial literacy, although that is a real thing, but it's about how counselors can help clients address their emotional relationship with money and implement practical financial strategies, right? So it's not just like having somebody who's an account manager or something like that. We're unpacking the feelings, the emotions behind money. What is that feeling that I get when I'm spending money on a bill? What am I worried about? Am I worried about my account being negative? Am I worried about my job not paying me enough? Is it mortgage being too much? What is it? And on a spiritual mindset, right? You don't ever want to spend money with a feeling of anxiety. You always want to spend money with the thought and the habit of multiplying and adding, right? When you spend, like, make sure you take a moment to yourself to clear away the anxiety, away the stress, clear away the worry, and say to yourself, what I spend is coming back to me, but multiplied. It's always going to come back to you. It's always going to come back. The spending is going to multiply and come back to you. And going back to that, when you were a child and things that you learned in your home, we have to understand, from friendships to intimate relationships, partnerships, whatever it is, people are coming from a different foundation of money, financial literacy. Some people are coming from a home where they did not get any of that at all. Where others are coming from a home where they're getting it. Their parents taught them how to save. They saw their parents save. They take vacations often because they're saving in X, Y, and Z. Everybody doesn't come from that. And a lot of the times, when you are somebody who did come from a family that lived paycheck to paycheck, you didn't see your parents going to college. You didn't see your parents starting the business. You didn't see your parents saving. 9 times out of 10, your relationship with money and finances is going to be surrounded with some type of anxiety, because you're used to seeing somebody live paycheck to paycheck. And as you get older, it's something that lights the fuel under you, because it's like, I don't want to experience in my adult life what I experienced as a child. And sometimes that can be counterproductive, because what we think could be something that's motivational, it's actually just more anxiety and something that's moving you to immobility and making you actually replicate what you've experienced as a child. So it's really important that we change our relationship with money and our relationship with anxiety and our relationship with trauma. Got to get ourselves into a mindset where, you know, anything that I do, anything that I spend, whether it's time or money, that is going to come back to me tenfold. It's going to multiply and come back to me. That's the mindset that we need to have when it comes to our lives and anything that we spend, from money to time. Um, what else? So, a new segment that I am adding to the podcast is called What's Going On, right? So, I've been seeing white women, white people, whatever, ask, can they join the Black Panther Party? The answer is hell no. What in your right mind makes you think that we letting you in the dough? This is not a cookout. And you barely can get good luck on that these days. Okay? Figure out how y'all can create your own organization that fights next to, with, and allies with the Black Panther Party. Because let's say you did get into the Black Panther Party. What are you gonna do? What's next? Stop invading our spaces. Stop trying to invade our spaces. I know you're so privileged and oblivious to how important it is for us to have our own spaces. And yeah, you might feel empowered, like, oh my gosh, I love what they're doing, I want to join too. No, you can love what the Black Panthers are doing, but you cannot join the Black Panther Party. I Okay. And moving right along to another new segment that I'm adding to the podcast, 5 minute a day mindfulness. I also got this from Half Price Books yesterday. Super cool, right? Super cool. It has all of these cool, like, illustrations on them and everything. And today we are going to pick from the being grounded section because I feel like that goes with, some of the things we were talking about: anxiety, trauma, relationship with money, the day not feeling like it's a win. And they also have different tabs. See, so cool. All these different tabs. The first one is being grounded, intention, action, selflessness, word, the creative mind, and compassion. But we're going to pull from being grounded. And here's the illustration on it. Isn't it cute? Golly, I love it. And I'm going to read from it. So this is something that you can do. You can do it sitting down. It's going to tell you to stand up. But if you can't stand up, you can sit down. And it's just a good way to be mindful and get grounded. Stand with your feet hip width apart, shoulders relaxed, hands by your side, your palms either rotated forward or left alongside your body. Slowly close your eyes, bringing your inner focus to the middles of the soles of your feet, if you can. Take off your shoes and socks. Gently bring your attention to your ankles, calves, knees, thighs, abdomen, chest, arms, neck, and head. Now connect all these parts and feel how you are firmly planted to the ground. While stretching toward the sky as you breathe, slowly repeat, I am here now. Again, slowly repeat, I am here now. This is something that you can do again at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, in the middle of the day. It doesn't matter. And if you need to, you can rewind back, pause, and practice it now, whether you're sitting down or standing up. The key words here on the card are focus, calm, and breath. Or focus, calm, and breathe. Same difference. And yeah, let that take you on to the end of your day and help you bring some ease to your anxiety, because at the end of the day, the whole theme here is win the day, because the day is already won, and control our actions and what we can do moving forward and how we can move forward. Nothing is bigger than you. Remember, everything is happening for you and not to you, and it's happening on purpose with purpose. Don't ever forget that. And allow that to ease your mind in any part of the day. And especially when you kick your shoes off, you kick your feet up, you lay your head on that pillow, and know that you won the day because you got on the other side of it. You feel me? And lastly, we're going to check out mental health check on the scale from 1 to 10. Where are you now versus where you were before? And what can you do to get your day to a 10 or to get it higher than what it was earlier or what it is now? Earlier, I was at 8 because I enjoyed doing the podcast. I have a very great morning. Right now, I'm about an 8.5, 9. I'm looking forward to the rest of the day. I got a little bit of work to do, but I'm going to kick my feet up, relax. But that's it, y'all. Peace. Win the day because the day is already won. And don't forget, water your cup in your garden before you water somebody else's. Peace.
Big body monster ain't never too small. If you can't walk, better learn how to crawl. I don't know about them, but I know about me. I don't never take L's when I wake on my feet. Start the day up, I brushing my teeth, say a prayer, then it's time to go eat. Winning the day every day. If you ain't winning, fuck out my way. You know what it take to be great. Apply the pressure, they gon' start off by winning the day. Winning the day, I'm winning the day. Yeah, I'm winning the day. I'm winning the day. I'm winning the day. Yeah, I'm winning the day. 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 I'm winning the day.